I want to go through these. This first one is really, really funny. Ed Sheeran explains why he hasn't owned a mobile phone since 2015.
I love this.
Is the lad is it the fact that it's Irish? Is that why they call it a mobile phone rather than a? Okay,
it's a British.
That's a British thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says Ed Sheeran has opened up about why he ditched his mobile phone and how incredible that's been. The British singer hasn't owned a smartphone since 2015 after he felt overwhelmed by the idea of staying in contact with loads of people. These feelings crept up quite suddenly as he concluded his worldwide X tour. He explained what happened 7 years ago during an interview with the Collector's Edition podcast. The Shivers star said, quote, "I got really, really overwhelmed and sad with the phone. I just spent my whole time in a very, very low place." I agree with him 110. I hate having, as much as I'm on it, I despise having a phone on a regular basis. Yeah. He said it would stress me out to reply to messages to reply to messages straight away. So instead of switching on screen time warnings or just handing it to an assistant, he got rid of it altogether. I love the idea that he can just hand it to assistant. This is the definition.
He could have, but he did it.
Of celebrity privilege. No, but it's still privilege though, because he can tell his assistant he needs to talk to someone, and then they can talk to them on their phone, or he has some type of person that helps him do this stuff. This is not something that the average person, nobody working the gig economy can just afford to just get rid of their phone.
The crazy thing about this to me is, well, okay, first off, I love this and I wish I could live in a world where I do this.
I know.
I also, this is my official submission to the Cast Castle vlog. I think we should do a challenge style vlog, but it's all of us having to go out into the world and run an errand without bringing our phones with us, because I
do that sometimes.
I can do it. I know that I can, but there's something about it. I think maybe it's because I'm work a news job right now, so it's I feel like I need to be constantly in touch. To
would be hilarious if your car broke down.
No, but if your car broke down, or if you don't know how to get to the store, I would just like to see a bunch of, I mean, you're a Zoomer, but millennials being okay, you have to go 24 hours without your phone, and you have to if you go 24 hours with your phone but you're just at home, it's a little bit different. If you have to go out and accomplish something, I'm just curious, or you have to meet up, if we all have to meet up for lunch but none of us get to bring our phone.
I'm telling you, the number one flex would be who's the Google CEO? Is it Sanjay Patel?
Yes.
One day he's just want to know how powerful I am? He just turns Google Maps off.
Oh my gosh, they would not work. We couldn't do it.
He's just you want to know what true power is? He goes, yoink. You all have to figure out.
That's cool. He could do that.
He could do that.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing, I mean, I do think that there are a lot of the book 4 Hour Work Week and a couple other things that talk about time management. I know I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Later in this article, he mentions that he will take, every couple days he turns on his computer, he answers 10 emails at a time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that again, that is a privileged position to be in, because he has someone who can manage everything else. I do think about it in terms of personal context. My friends live all over the country, and there are people that I love and adore and wish I could talk to constantly, but I am just not the personality type who can sustain a long form text conversation endlessly. I don't really do it with people I'm dating. I don't do it with my, it's just impractical for me.
I'm picturing like a skit where he's I love how my life is so free where I only have to answer 10 emails a day, and it shows him he answers them, he shuts his computer off, but then behind him his secretary's furiously typing away hundreds of emails because he's a celebrity. He's it's so nice to be unburdened.
Yeah.
But then the person behind there's literally red in the face trying to answer every email.
Yeah. Well, and I think the bad thing about cell phones is it creates this culture where it's I sent you a text, why didn't you respond to it? And it's you're not obligated to my time. Just because you have suddenly appeared in my day does not mean that I have to respond within the hour or I'm rude.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Also, you're the type of texter who will never text back. But what kind of
sorry,
text?
Miracle. That's me.
No, you're okay, because
I'll someone will text me and then 5 days later I'll respond. But to me, the conversation is still going. I just can't promise you that the moment that you text me, I'm free to text you. But I'm happy to talk to you. It's just that you can't. I think that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I was about to ask him, Brett, what type of texter he is, but he just answered my question.
I start almost no conversations through text, and then I'll respond once I find the emotional bandwidth to do so. A lot of it's always I can't think of what to say, and I don't want to say something that comes off as rude or I just I'm the person who thinks I need to think of the right way to say this, and then I just end up saying nothing at all, and I mean nothing by it.
Which isn't a good habit to be in.
No, it's not.
I just think that this is a reminder. If you really need Ed Sheeran, you better have a phone number where you can literally call him.
Yep.
the one caveat here is, how did his wife feel about this? I know they just had a child together. Like,
oh, he better have a phone now.
or they're together all the time where he's
Yeah.
like, going into labor. Cool, I'm here.
It says the singer says he can now have the uninterrupted bonding time with the people close to him. He made an exception last year to his no phone rule so that NHS workers could track and trace him if he tested positive for
Boo, Ed
coronavirus.
Sheeran.
I made an exception so that the government could track
That's
me.
the whole reason to
Yeah.
get rid of your phone, dummy.
Dude, come on, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Think you could do it? Think you could live without a phone?
Yeah,
I think you could.
I never had a phone until I reached like either sophomore year of high school, and then I lost. My uncle took away my phone for like 1 year, so I could do it.
A year?
A year.
Strict parents, yo. That's happened to me.
Like
Not a year, but
you had like a date on a calendar, and then a new calendar. You just
Well,
wrote that
because
date?
because I never got my phone back, so I had to buy my own. Basically,
boy.
I had to start from the bottom all the way to the top again. But for me, I could do it, and also I have been in trouble once, like with a group of friends and people who wanted to date me. Because I tend to do this.
Something no guy has ever said in his entire life. I got in trouble from this woman who wants to date me.
Yeah, but like what happened was like they didn't like my texting style, so I tend to text a lot in abbreviations or one-worded text.
Everybody has their own style. Like, have you ever seen the meme where it says like, "Are you this texter?" and it's like text, or "Are you this texter?" and
It's a block.
it's a long block. I'm the block guy.
more of a
Yeah.
block.
I'm the block guy.
It depends my mood for me.
Me and my friend Dan would have these long conversations where he would send rapid fire thoughts, and then I would send a long response, and then we would eventually just talk on the phone because like I would get, or he would, more often that he would call me, and I would have to decide whether I had the emotional bandwidth to like answer at 2 in the morning, and have like knowing that the conversation would eventually make me, high stress or whatever, for what, not for a negative reason, just because it would be
He's animated, maybe.
it would be
Yeah.
a very, very like it would be these weird. He sent me a message this one time. He's like about like a movie, and he's like about whether it was culturally significant in a way that we couldn't predict, and whether it was considered vulgar for the time. I'm like, dude, it is 2:30 in the morning. I cannot have this discussion with you right now.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm asking what type of texter are you, because again, I got in trouble for texting one message text, and my friend Jazzy legit yelled at me one time because she was so heated that our friend Jacob didn't reply to a text. She thought he went missing.
that.
Well, there was a time you and I were texting, and you were sending me like the letter K or like one word responses, and I was like, is she mad at me?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
which
people,
is a girl thing.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
people generally.
I mean, I don't care if somebody's mad at me, but like that's a thing.
I don't care
like,
if
where
everyone is mad at me,
with-
but like Miracle, I would
someone
worry.
says K.
But then I was
period.
just like, no, she's just a Zoomer. I don't understand her.
No, but I never text K because my mom does that, so it annoys the living shit out of me if you put KK. I'm like, don't ever do that.
type OKAY period.
My dad will text Y, meaning yes.
Yes.
But I'm like, why are you like? I think he means like why question mark.
My dad texts like that because my dad has a flip phone.
Yeah, I think it's a hang up from that, or it's just like he's abbreviating it.
Yep.
I don't think he texts the word N for no, though. I remember one time as a teenager, like texting him, being like, "Hey, do you want me to order dinner, or do you want me to make dinner tonight?" And he texted me back, "Why?" And I was like, "Because it's 6:30 and we've got to eat." Like, what do you mean, why?
I think I had to explain to Miracle once what T9 was.
What's T9?
Oh man,
I don't know what
it's-
T9 is either.
What's T9?
never mind. Well, you
Tonight?
guys can go Google
But
it.
yeah,
tonight.
I'm never
Is
angry
it
at
tonight?
No, it's a text style on old phones with buttons. You can look it up later.
Buttons.
It'll be
Whoa.
like a history project for
you.
you
It's
guys.
kind of like a big form of a laptop, right?
Just look it up later. You'll enjoy yourself. It'll be like a time capsule.
Okay.
Okay, I do want to quick get into. I just want to announce that there is going to be Mortal Kombat 2. I had to
Oh
look it up.
my God! Are they gonna have Johnny Cage?
Yes.
If they have Johnny Cage, can you hire Nicolas Cage so it can be super meta? Please,
They
please,
maybe they will
and
do that.
let him punch you in the nethers.
Well, they took out they won't do this in the
Oh.
game anymore. They took the OK symbol out of the game because they're all mentally ill, and they're worried that Reddit or that 4chan is out to get them with the OK symbol, because the character in the games used
Trolls
to-
on Reddit or on 4chan or whatever are so happy that they've had such a cultural impact.
Oh yeah. So, but the
Which
point
I
is,
salute you guys. If that was what you engineered.
the Mortal Kombat 2, it's going to have the writer from Moon Knight, so we'll have to.
Sorry.
So we'll have to, when we're watching Moon Knight, we'll have to pay attention to how well that goes. And then if you enjoy the writing from Moon Knight, that might further inform whether the second movie will be the good. I just watched it the other night. Yeah.
Well, the first movie, I didn't want to watch it because I was so upset they got rid of Johnny Cage. I was like, Johnny Cage is the face of Mortal Kombat. I don't care what people say. I want a stud of a Hollywood actor who thinks he's better than everybody and joins a death match because he wants to prove that he does his own stunts.
It would have made
Thank you.
It would have made more sense if they hadn't included the Cole character, which has nothing to do with the games.
No, later the new game, it was like a promotion for the new game. He's a new character.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but he wasn't when the movie came out. Then they added him. He wasn't a character beforehand. So, but the point is that they're getting underway here. It was a fairly financially successful. There's a typo in here where it says in April of 2020 the world was given a new live action Mortal Kombat movie. I think it was 2021 when it came out, not 2020. So we'll see how that goes. The violence in the movie was extremely good, but that's because you should not be watching a Mortal Kombat movie without ultra violence. And then, of course, they did the thing where it's just like an origin story where in the superhero movie, the character doesn't get his goddamn costume until the very final 5 minutes of the movie. And this one, you don't get you don't even get the tournament in the first Mortal Kombat movie. So I just wanted to announce that is going to be very cool.
That's
I knew you'd be very excited about that.
Because I want Johnny Cage back.
You will get him. They said they're bringing him. He'll be in this movie.
He has to be really cocky and a dick. Please.
He will be.
He's
sure.
my favorite character.
We'll probably talk about his white privilege.
Oh.
Disney,
No.
It says, now here's where we get into, yesterday we talked about Peter Dinklage and his take on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Disney may replace dwarves in Snow White with magical creatures.
Weren't they already
the
magical
dwarves
creatures?
were already
They are.
magical creatures. They were just magical creatures that a little person could play, right? And that is the politically correct term, right?
Yeah,
I believe
little
it's
person.
I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone.
No, you're good.
I think you're good.
Okay, so it says Disney may be replacing the original Seven Dwarfs from the animated Snow White classic with magical creatures in the upcoming film remake. So they're just going to take away jobs.
Yeah.
It's just they're going to do CGI.
So it's going to be CGI.
It's going to be
instead.
CGI.
Which also means, like, wouldn't they then put, like, a little person actor in a CGI suit with, like, all those things over them? And then no, that's how they do a lot of, like, CGI characters, right?
Yep.
Like, it's someone on a green screen in a green suit with the sensors.
If you ever want to see a fantastic example of how hard it can be to be an actor, watch the behind-the-scene footage of the Planet of the Apes trilogy that Matt Reeves made, where Andy Serkis is having these long, deeply emotional conversations with the guy from Venom 2, Woody Harrelson. So they're having these back and forth, extremely
Woody
deep.
Harrelson's great.
They're having these deep dialogues, but the problem is Andy Serkis plays an ape in the movie, so he's literally in a mocap suit, and they're doing this without laughing.
Yeah,
without it's
that's
insane.
like the live action Beauty and the Beast. When you see shots of that, it's like Emma Watson looking like all dolled up, and then it's like this guy who sort of looks like a lumpy gray piece of clay.
Yep. So
I still think it's funny. The Beast looks more attractive than his human form.
Oh my gosh, and that's true in the animated version too. It's just like,
which is so
How
funny.
did you get your hair like that?
Look, the point of the movie is it's not about looks, and Disney didn't even give them a nice charming prince at the end. They really stuck to their guns on that message.
Exactly.
Did either of you see the weird Beauty and the Beast cop show with Kristen Cruick?
Yeah, I did.
They call this guy a beast.
Doing less.
And he only had a scar on his face.
It's like the handsomest dude you've ever seen, and he's got a scar in like the exact place that doesn't affect his facial features.
That still looks kind of cool and mysterious.
Yeah, and I'm just like, make a guy that looks like me
so
and
ugly.
tell me it's Beauty and the Beast, but do not show me this dude
Brett, you're adorable.
who literally
You are.
looks like a male model and has one scar
a groovy scar.
It just barely misses his eye and continues like just
He's
offset.
not even like blind because of it.
He's not. So it's just like, it somehow makes him more handsome.
I don't they make this joke in Pitch Perfect where it's like the awkward girl, and then you take out your scary nose ring and take off your glasses, and then you discover you're beautiful.
Yeah.
That's they did that in the movie Not Another Teen Movie, where it's the play on like She's All That and all the movies from the 90s, like we're gonna make her beautiful, and they just take off her glasses and pull out her ponytail, and she goes, perfect.
Gets a hairbrush, and that's the end of the movie.
She goes, in the movie he goes, you gotta make the joke is like you have to find, it's Chris Evans, it's a very early Chris Evans role, he plays this high school jock, and they're like you have to take the ugliest girl you can find and make her prom queen, and they point out like two people attached at the hip, and they're albino, and then he points out, like, you go through all these people that are truly, like, they're supposed to be gratuitous, and then he point at Janie Briggs. He's like, she's got glasses and a ponytail. She'll never be prom queen.
Well, my hair up right now.
Yeah,
I am. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, glasses and a ponytail. You'll never be. And then she is.
Well, for me, it's funny because, like, throughout my, like, whole, like, education life, everybody thought I was a lesbian because I had glasses and a ponytail. And I was like, great.
I feel like we were early generation of, like, people suspecting you're gay and, like, trying to figure you out. But, like,
and they talk it's funny because in the audio commentary for the movie for Not Another Teen Movie, they talk about how they thought that they were denigrating, that it made women less attractive when somebody wears their hair. No, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Okay, the movie A Walk to Remember with Mandy Moore. She's like, they were like, some women's group is saying that they're saying she's ugly because she wears her hair in a ponytail, and they're like, no, they're saying
that but you.
They're saying that she's modest and that she wears her hair up because she's a woman of faith and that she wants to be modest. Right, so it's this weird,
also it's
early feminism, right?
Yeah.
In this thing.
Also, like, sometimes people's comments are indicative of things they're already thinking. So it's
exactly.
Like, they say she's ugly. It's like, so you're insecure about the way you look.
It says more about the person saying it than it does about them. So
what's the Disney update? I'm sorry.
I just want to finish up here on the magical creatures part. It says, following Dinklage's criticism and Disney's response, the Wrap now reports that Disney is seeking to replace the dwarves as seen in previous adaptations with what is described as magical creatures. They were already magical creatures. According to the casting sheets, no other details are known at this time about the exact nature of the substitution of those characters or how it may impact the overall plot and dynamic of the movie or Snow White herself. Disney has yet to officially confirm the dwarves' replacement with magical creatures. It also suggests that the Snow White production is currently seeking voice actors to provide the magical creatures with distinct personalities. This implies that the updated rendition of the 7 characters maybe includes substantial CGI to represent them visually on screen. However, the film isn't expected to be released until 2023. So the best thing Disney can do here is still hire members of the they called it in the other article, the dwarfism community. Hire actors.
Dwarfism is a technical term.
Yes. And then there's this article. It says British Paralympian Will Perry on Snow White. I don't think we should cancel a fairy tale that is so well loved. It says British Paralympian Will Perry made it clear he disagrees with Game of Thrones actor Peter Dinklage and the Walt Disney Company's thoughts on the classics.
Same thing with Brad Williams, a comedian who has this condition too.
When you mentioned Brad Williams the other day, I didn't remember who you were talking about. I was like, I love that. Yeah,
I love his joke where, like, people thought he was Wee Man.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, it says Dinklage caused a stir that. Okay, but we'll go down there. It says we're gonna go past what Dinklage said because we talked about that yesterday. But it says. Down here it says the Wrap would report that Disney is removing the dwarves from the film altogether and would instead be magical creatures. And then Will Perry appeared on Good Morning Britain where he declared, I don't think we should cancel a fairy tale that is so well loved. Obviously, so many people, they don't love it for the dwarves, they love it for the story and innocently as well. So I think that it should be, so I don't think it should be canceled. It's brilliant to have a little look, he says. Okay, let's consult. He said that. I don't know if that's what he meant, but he says, and okay, let's consult people with dwarfism, get their opinion. We might have to make some tweaks, but I don't think it should be canceled at all, even if it's just adjusting the name slightly or the way we are represented, that we are presented on screen. We are not in a cave. We are in a house. We are not depicted as mindless, stupid characters. We are sentient beings. We have feelings, he added. Perry's
they run a complex business. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And that's what, like, it's weird. I feel like what Dinklage said proved maybe he hadn't seen it in a long time, and he like
no Dinklage
I think
is
maybe
like
he gets like a lot of pressure. So I'm cutting you off.
No, you're good.
As like the dwarf actor in Hollywood, meaning actor with dwarfism,
and he's worked very hard to be known as an actor, not an actor with dwarfism, so maybe it rubs off.
So maybe he's particularly sensitive about this issue. Do you guys remember the show Little People Big World?
Yeah,
it was a TLC show. Matt
it.
Roloff is the father, and he has dwarfism, and he talks about being cast in the Star Wars movie as a Wookiee, and he was like, yeah, like I got that role because of my condition, like I was
Warwick
able to,
Davis leaned into it.
I mean, like I think that like just like one racial group might not have one homogenous opinion. Peter Peter Dinklage is not the representation of all actors
I
or
like one of the
performers
jokes.
with dwarfism.
There's a couple of great comments here where it says, more importantly, the dwarves were heroes. They're portrayed as hardworking, compassionate, and brave.
Yeah.
And then down here it says, what negative stereotypes does it even portray? Are we going to cancel Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit next? It's
Yeah.
literally they're forgetting that they're not.
Well, and they're all
not humans.
extremely capable. We're not portraying them as less than. First off, they're not humans with dwarfism in the movie. They're dwarves the same way that an elf is not a person.
Exactly.
Who, I don't know.
Yeah.
Has elvenism.
What's funny about it is that this is one of those things where eventually you're only going to ever be able to create something that's exactly about you and nothing else, because you'll be considered offensive to somebody because you can't understand their lived experience. So
your lived experience will be offensive to someone, so therefore it won't exist or be portrayed at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you will not be. There was a book. I don't even want to go into that. So it's not really super relevant here. But like say you wanted to. Some of the best comic book writers don't write characters that look like them. It's the whole point of imagination, right? Christopher Priest is a very famous comic book writer who left the industry for a long period of time because he says, I don't want to be seen as the black writer who writes black characters. He said, they started only offering me Black Panther, only offering me Steel, only offering me African-American characters, rather than realizing, hey, I can write Deathstroke. I can write all these other Daredevil. I don't need to just be pigeonholed. I am a writer. I am more than just my immutable characteristics.
It works in the opposite because there's a movement that only people of certain races can write that race.
Exactly.
And, in this case, like, if he's the prominent writer of black superheroes, then well, is there he doesn't have an alternative, so they're like, well, it kind of has to be you.
And he
we
left
know you
the
may
industry.
not want to, but yeah.
And he left the industry and
I
wrote
think it's
elsewhere.
an extremely difficult place to put truly creative people.
Vampirella now.
Well, what upsets me, because the animation community kind of gets involved with this too. So you remember when Kristen Wiig voiced a character that was half white and half black, and then she resigned her role as that character
Bob's
because
Burgers guy also.
Yeah, it made me so upset because nobody cares what race you are. I did voice acting for a black character for my friend.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
You can. I actually had the video. I can show you. No. But basically, it doesn't matter if you're a good actor or you love the career and you're passionate about it. You can do it. It doesn't matter what race you are.
Yep.
Basically, we bleed the same color.
Yep.
And
I just think it depends, because I know we've had criticism of places that unnecessarily race shift, they change when it's not necessary, or it might even detract from the story. I understand that it's a nuanced issue, but in this case, you're saying that people who might be uniquely qualified to physically portray a role can't portray it, even though it's not about their medical condition. It is about...
And he can't... he never he says the stereotype he says is they live in a cave. What stereotype is that?
Well, and I could understand that, if you felt like the characters were being treated I've heard people with dwarfism say that they don't like being treated like children or less than able.
Yeah.
These people run a mine and they take in some random girl and they manage a household.
They're the heroes
they're
of the...
extremely capable and kind. It's
and then
wonderful.
Lord of the Rings, he's a great warrior.
Yep. It's now if you want to talk about the leprechaun, yeah, we can get into something being very exploitative. We can get into something being very exploitative. But I'm saying that what he's looking at here is he's trying to blanket an issue that is extremely nuanced.
Well, and maybe he should just decline the role if offered.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to portray it, that's fine. But what if there is an actor who would be willing to, and
that
what if
wants
that gives
opportunity.
an actor with dwarfism an opportunity to play a serious role, like we talked about today? That may be physically part of the role, that they're a dwarf in the magical sense, not a dwarf person with dwarfism, but if it gives them a chance to portray, Doc is extremely kind and wise, and he's a mentor to Snow White in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
If they're able to have a chance to play a role outside of themselves, the same way that Euphoria gives Zendaya the option to play a more serious character after being on the Disney Channel, why would you deny that to someone else?
I don't know. My favorite YouTuber, Nikki Limo, she talks about it because she's half white, half Filipino, but they see her. She looks Latina, but she doesn't look Asian. And she says Hollywood kind of ruined her whole life because now she can't play roles as a Hispanic girl or a Latina anymore because she's not that descent. They said you can either play as white or Filipino. And she said sometimes when she does play a role to be a Latina, they look at her and they're like, okay, you look like it. Can you speak it? And she's like, no. And they're like, well, bye. And she's like, none the role doesn't have speaking parts that's in the native language. I'm a good actor, I can do it. And they're like, no. And she just thinks that political Hollywood is terrible for actors everywhere.
One of my favorite actresses working today is Meredith Eaton, who I put on screen there. She is, she's been working for like 20 years, maybe longer. And she has a fantastic episode of the show House where she goes back and forth with Hugh Laurie and absolutely goes toe to toe him with, I mean, he's rude to her because the character is rude and she doesn't take his crap. She gives him the crap right back, and he ends up respecting her more. Like, he treats her like with more respect than he treats almost any like hospital patient that I've seen in that show. Because despite I recommend everyone.
That's one of the best episodes of House.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's so good.
It's the one where he's going through withdrawal because he's. It's during season 3. When
she's the one who looks at me and goes, "Are you high right now?"
And it's like higher than you. It's it's very vulgar.
And they have like a weird begrudging. Like in the end, they have a weird begrudging flirtation.
Yeah, she's absolutely flirting with him
because he actually. The thing is, like, he doesn't treat them like any. He doesn't treat her like less because she has dwarfism.
And
he's just as rude to her as he would be to anyone else.
Because Cameron tries to help her daughter up onto the
She's like, just get her a stool so she can get up there.
There's beautiful nuance in that, in the way that episode, like that show.
I love House, but that is a particularly good episode.
Yes, excellent. So, like I said, it is part of the homogenization of Hollywood that these things are becoming so blanket. The issues have to be solved one way, and that's by changing everything. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.